बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। अस्सलाम वालेकुम एवरीवन। कैसे हैं आप सब? आई होप यू आर डूइंग वेल। स्टूडेंट्स, आई होप दैट आई एम ऑडिबल। प्लीज रेज योर हैंड्स टू लेट मी नो कि आपको आवाज क्लियर आ रही है। Students, today we will start our unit number 5, and this will be an introductory lecture. But before moving to unit 5 according to the book, I would like to tell you that since we have covered so many different learning outcomes of grammar and vocabulary as well, so I would like you to introduce with a test. Actually, there are two tests. One is of part of speech and the other one is combining all the tenses जितने हमने पढ़े हैं. Especially हमने present tense की सारी variations, even the interrogative, how to make negative or negative interrogative tense. So I would like to display here these two tests before you. I would like to ask you one or two questions just to engage yourselves, and then I would ask you to solve it by Monday. So by Monday, you have to solve this test. Okay, now, since we are very much clear about tenses, this is a number of questions where you have to choose the appropriate word with these helping verbs. या present में हो सकता है past, future, present continuous, past continuous, past जो है future continuous, और वो जो सारी variations है tenses की, ये आप solve करेंगे, then this will make you understand it better, so that you master all these tenses. So first, I need your attention, students, for this test. This is just a recap, it's a recall. Number one, after Jonathan blank his degree, she intends to work in an office. So here we have these options: will finish, will have finished, finished, or is finishing. So what do you think? Which one is the right option? Or you can also add finishes in the very present form. Finishes का भी यहाँ पे आप option add कर लें. So आप इसको read करेंगे. After Jonathan his degree, she intends to work in an office. So what kind of tense is this? आपको क्या लगता है? Is it present? Is it in the past, or is it in the future? Yes. Students from Zoom class, Noor Fatma, students from academies. Yes? Future? This is actually after Jonathan finishes his degree or her degree, she intends to work in an office. After finishing the degree, so you can say after Jonathan finishes his or her degree. So जैसे मैंने आपको कहा कि finishes अगर आप यहाँ पे ऐड कर लें, और यहाँ पे number 2, Lola looked down to discover a snake at her feet. When she saw it, she screamed, was screaming, had screamed, या screams. Which time are we telling? Past?
She screamed.
Past, yes, good answer. She screamed because हम past में बात कर रहे हैं. This happened in the past. Good answer. Now students from Zoom class, please be attentive and answer the coming question. I borrowed 4 books on gardening the last time I to the library. I go, I went, I had gone, yeah, I have gone. What do you think is the right answer? जी आप बताएं. Went? Good. क्योंकि हम पास्ट में बात कर रहे हैं. I borrowed 4 books on gardening the last time I went to the library. Go का जो second form है क्या है? Went. Go, went, and gone. All right. By the time I go to bed tonight, I blank my work for the day. Yes. It's very easy. Yes. By the time I go to bed tonight, अब जाना है उसने सोने के लिए. फ्यूचर की बात हो रही है. That I will finish my work for the day. Good. And lastly, we are going to just do this last one here. Mark Twain up in a small town in Mississippi. Mark Twain is was a very famous American writer. So he's no more. तो हम क्या कहेंगे? Even if he is alive, because we are talking about growing up, तो क्या करेंगे? Mark Twain has grown up, had grown up, या was growing up or grew up. Yes, grew up. Mark Twain grew up in a small town in Mississippi. So इसी तरह good effort. Now I would like you to see the other test about parts of speech, probably tenses and parts of speech. This is what you're going to master in the very first test, because ये हमारी series में पहला test है. I would over and again, before we start the next lecture, I will always put forward some tests for you and you have to solve them, because tenses और grammar में जो tenses हैं, parts of speech हैं, इनको अगर आपने confusion के साथ छोड़ दिया, then they will be forever like an error in your mind. So you have to clarify all these problems and all these mistakes. Now यहाँ पे, since these are like 16 pages, but don't worry about it, they are very easy to solve. Now, for example, Jane watched her frisbee as it disappeared behind the trees. यहाँ पे आपने pronouns को circle करना होगा. जैसे in the first sentence, Miss Gates told her to collect the tests. What is the pronoun? Her. Yes. Our ecology project proved challenging. What is the pronoun over here? Yes, students. Our ecology project proved challenging. Or Maria exhibited her model spacecraft at the science fair. Her. The drama coach told the players they would have to rehearse 5 hours every day. Yes. And substitute kids' school supplies for hers. Yes, for hers. और ये hers किस तरह का pronoun है? It's like a possession. Possessive pronoun, we have it. Alright, so इसके आगे भी जो आप टेस्ट देखेंगे, they are containing all these different parts of speech जो आप पढ़ चुके हैं. So I hope by the next lecture on Monday you will solve all that without any help by your own, so that you can verify it, counter check it, and see where you stand in your understanding of tenses and parts of speech. So let's begin this today's lecture. We have covered 4 units according to the book. We have covered SLOs of grammar, जहां हमने tenses को सीखा था, parts of speech. We also talked about so many other aspects of grammar, and for vocabulary हमने connotative and denotative meaning को सीखा था, what they are, and also so many other things like synonyms. We talked about antonyms, we talked about context clues, जो के 4 हैं. Then we moved on to our reading learning outcomes, reading competency से related, और उसमें students हमने क्या किया था? Reading comprehension से related, pre-reading, while reading strategies, skimming and scanning, and all those different kinds of SLOs जो कि आपकी reading को enhance करेंगे, and you can answer the questions later on responding to the text. पहले आप text पढ़ेंगे और आप उसके बाद उसको answer करेंगे. And sometimes you are also asked to give it a suitable title. Passage को suitable title भी देने की demand आपसे की जाती है. All right. So all these different learning outcomes, you're going to revise them, revisit the lectures, and then solve the text. And I'll share so many more upcoming tests as well. So for unit number 5, we have all these different lectures today. I'll introduce them to you so that you are prepared for lecture number 1 and so on the next lecture, on the next class. All right. First one is about vocabulary. How do we know that? We have to consult general and specialized reference materials. And what are those reference materials? when we are talking about words and their meanings and different information about a word, we are always referring to some extra materials. We refer to dictionaries, we refer to thesauruses, we go for glossaries and all that. We can see that in both print and digital. Mostly the print form is not available all the time, so you can access through internet different digital platforms of dictionary.com or thesaurus.com to understand the meaning of any word. Acha, not only we are going to find the meanings of word, we are also going to see that how we can find the correct pronunciation, the correct way of saying that particular word in a dictionary, because it is mentioned in the dictionary page. Precise meaning, since we have so many different meanings of one same word in our dictionary, because one word can have different meanings, right? So we have to see which one is the right one to select according to the context. What is the classification of that word? Is it an adjective? Is it a verb or a preposition? We can also see that in our dictionaries, and we can also look for etymology. Etymology is the origin of the word. ये लफ्ज कहां से आया? For example, आप साइंस पढ़ते हैं या आप कोई भी सब्जेक्ट पढ़ते हैं, उसमें एक टर्म आ जाती है या देयर इज अ वर्ड टू डिफाइन स्पेसिफिकली, इस वर्ड को डिफाइन करें, तो उसकी डेफिनेशन में स्टूडेंट्स आप उस लफ्ज को ट्रेस करते हैं कि ये लफ्ज कहां से आया, व्हाट इज द ओरिजिन ऑफ दिस पर्टिकुलर वर्ड. ये पहले ग्रीक वर्ड था या लैटिन से आया, फिर फ्रेंच में कन्वर्ट हुआ, देन इट रीच टू द इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज. सो यू आर गोइंग टू सी that what is the etymology of any word, और वो कहां से मिलेगी आपको? डिक्शनरी से. और synonyms और antonyms कहां से मिलेंगे आपको? thesaurus से. तो हम इसको go through करेंगे and we will find out about it. Now lecture number 2 में हम क्या पढ़ेंगे students? Again it is about grammar. We are going to see that how we can recognize and use conjunctions. And what kind of conjunctions are we talking about? We are talking about correlative conjunctions that are working as pairs. For example, both and. Whenever we are talking about these conjunctions, they are working together in a sentence. Same goes for either or, neither, nor, not, but, and these two pairs actually, they are always working together, not only, but also. So we will see that what are correlative conjunctions. पिछले lecture में हमने about correlative conjunctions, we learned some correlative conjunctions, how do we use them. But in this lecture, in this coming lecture, we will see some more correlative conjunctions and you will identify them and you will use them in your sentences. So we will talk about this. So before attending this lecture number 2, क्या करेंगे आप? You will read about conjunctions. Search it on the internet. Go through them, search them, note them down कि कौन से correlative conjunctions हैं जो साथ में pair up करके sentence में use होते हैं, ताकि हम उन्हें याद करें और हम उन्हें उनके साथ हम sentences बनाएं. Because in the paper you may be asked in your exam to point out some correlative conjunctions. So it's very important कि आप सारे correlative conjunctions को एक दफा देखें और उनको use करें in your examples. So it's very important. Lecture number 3, again this is about tenses. In the last unit we covered our present tense और हमने उसके साथ past tense को भी देखा था और future tenses की भी कुछ hints देखी थी. But यहाँ पे हम specifically past tense को use करेंगे in our tenses और in our sentences. और past simple, जिसे past simple कहते हैं आप, या simple past, then past continuous. past में जो चीज चल रही थी at that time it was continuing. We will learn about that. Your past perfect and past perfect continuous. और हम ये भी देखेंगे कि how can we make interrogative, सवालिया जुमले कैसे बनाएंगे. How can we make these sentences in the form of questions? How can we make them in the negative form? how can we make them in the negative interrogative form? जैसे we have a sentence, she was doing well. Was she doing well? Or we could say, was she not doing well? So it means interrogative, negative questions, and we will try to make them. We will involve different activities for you, matching questions, fill in the blanks, MCQs to solve, so that you are very much aware of that. And I would ask you to make on the spot to make some sentences in the past form. So you have to be ready and you have to prepare for this lecture. Okay, next one is specifically it's related to your reading comprehension. How do you do it? You will apply skimming and scanning strategies for what? For getting information and main points in your text to identify the writer's purpose and intended audiences. Skimming and scanning, students, these are reading techniques. When we are talking about skimming, we are reading everything in the text to find the main idea. और अगर हमने कुछ specific information तलाश करनी है, like a date, birth year, or something very specific, some data, figure या statistics, क्या करेंगे? सारा text नहीं पढ़ेंगे, scan करेंगे उसको to find our information. We will have some activities for you. You will be the text will be displayed over here. We have to quickly find out the relevant information, and also we can find the main idea of the text. क्योंकि पेपर में क्वेश्चन आता है, आपको एक पैसेज दिया जाता है and you are asked to find the main idea, or if there are two central ideas of any text or any passage. How do you do it? You do it by skimming the whole text. So we will talk about it. How can we find the main idea? Okay, in the next lecture, lecture number 5, this is also about reading, where we have to analyze various types of biographies and autobiographies connected to different fields and professions. For example, it can be a person's life story in print and multimedia, determining which details are emphasized in each type. Now, when we are talking about reading, books की हम बात करें, so they are divided into different categories, right? Some books are talking about one person's life, like a biography on Quaid-e-Azam. It contains all the accounts of his life, his struggles, and his achievements, experiences. So ऐसी किताब को हम क्या कहेंगे? Biography. And it is written by not the person himself or herself, but by another person. But when we are talking about autobiography, we are talking about the very same person who's writing his account, his life. That's autobiography. We will see कि biography पढ़ते हुए हमने किस चीज का ख्याल रखना है, and when we are reading autobiography, which things we need to understand. What is a memoir, जो कि एक specific time के लिए होता है. It's a part of autobiography. Now, we will talk about we will take any person's famous autobiography or biography, and we will talk about it in detail, and we will respond to the text with some answers to the questions that we have. All right. Lecture number 6 में, dear learners, we will again talk about reading. We will read and view and analyze a variety of reading grade appropriate books, high interest books, और उसमें हम देखेंगे again personal recounts, डायरी एंट्रीज, बायोग्राफीज, पर्सनल एसेज को भी हम देख सकते हैं दैट आर वेरी मच क्लियर अबाउट द टाइटल से ही हमें क्लियर हो जाता है दैट दिस इज अ पर्सनल एसे ऑफ द राइटर. तो जितने भी पर्सनल रिकाउंट्स हैं, हाउ डू यू, व्हाई आर वी रीडिंग दिस? बिकॉज वी वांट टू राइट biographies and autobiographies. So before reading these kind of texts and literature, we need to understand them and read them first. So that's why we will read these different diary entries, journals, biographies. I will display the structure for you. कि journal इस तरह लिखा जाता है, diary entries written like this, and biography and autobiography looks something like this. So be ready for this. And okay, next one, since We are talking about reading, and reading contains a lot of words. Now, how do we choose words and phrases for effect? Now, students, there are a lot of words. Some words are stronger than others. We have to choose those words that are like they are acting as keywords जो के effect रखते हैं किस पे? Reader पे. There are stronger, very strong phrases, very strong words. When we are writing something, we need to choose कि कौन सा verb, which type of adjective, which kind of phrase we are going to use to make the text strong. क्योंकि अगर आप एक जैसा लिखेंगे तो क्या होगा? Monotonous sound. एक जैसा लिखेंगे, it will be boring to read because there is no excitement in the text. So in order to create a very good effect in writing in the English language, you need to choose your words and phrases very carefully so that we can leave a very good impact on the reader. The reader can be your examiner, it can be your teacher, your instructor, or the general audience to whom you are addressing the text. Now, as we always do for lecture number 8, we are going to see oral communication. और oral communication में students हम देखेंगे what are these rhetorical questions for a range of audiences. So when we are talking, when we are communicating, जब हम बात करते हैं, there are lots of questions and answers when we are expressing ourselves. But then there are some questions जिसका कोई जवाब नहीं होता. These are rhetorical questions. Like if I say, it's a beautiful day, isn't it? कितना अच्छा दिन है ना? I don't need any answer. This is a rhetorical question. So speech में, communication में, सामने वाला या हम चीज को वाज़ेह करने के लिए और इफेक्ट देने के लिए rhetorical questions का इस्तेमाल करते हैं. And they can be done in your interviews, when you are giving a speech, when you are communicating with a larger audience, when you are addressing someone for any purpose. We use these questions. They are called rhetorical questions or rhetorical questions. So we will see what kind of questions they are and how are they different from normal questions. So why are they different? We will see. And for the writing competency students in lecture number 9, we will try to write multiple paragraphs like we did in the last lecture of the last unit. हमने multiple paragraphs को लिखना सीखा था. How can we write them in our essays, right? ऐसे ही था. I hope that you have followed the lecture. We will write multiple paragraphs of free writing for fluency, creativity, brainstorming or pleasure. These are all the purposes. हम देखेंगे कि if we want to be good writers in the English language, how can we do it? A very good technique is free writing. हम free writing से कुछ text को create करेंगे. You will do it and I will check them and assess them. And we will also learn that how we can do this free writing before writing any big project, any assignment, any essay or any story. So fictional and non-fictional, it works for both these genres. So we will see how we can write it. And now for lecture number 10, you will research for short projects to answer a question, including a self-generated question or solve a problem, synthesize multiple sources on the subject, demonstrating understanding of the subject under investigation while writing or presenting their assignment. So this is about a research project. How can we make a project? How can we take a thesis and antithesis and do synthesis in our writing, in our project? Now we will see that how we can write the problem solution essays that are solving something, or writings in general जिसमें हम कोई problem solve कर रहे हैं और we are writing a project. That's all for today. These are all the lectures, 10 lectures for Unit 5 students. I hope that you will be preparing them and taking a glimpse of them before we attend the lectures. Till then, if you have any kind of question, and I will remind you that you have to solve those two tests that I shared with you. They will be shared in the WhatsApp group as well. You can access them and you can solve them. So if you have any kind